As vinyl record collectors, we've all dealt with it at some point. Dirty records. But what is the best way to clean them? Well, I don't know if there's a best way. There's a couple ways. And today I'm going to show you my way of cleaning records. So if you're new here, welcome in. And if you're a repeat offender, welcome back. I'm Johnny, and you're tuned to Channel 910. We've all been in that situation. You're down on the floor, digging through those crates underneath the table of the high dollar stuff, trying to find that hidden treasure. As you're flipping through those records, you come upon the one that you've been looking for a while. You pull it out. You're so excited. You found it. Ain't at a deal nonetheless. You take the record out of the jacket and your heart sinks. It's dirty. It's filthy. There's fingerprints. There's dust. There's dirt. There's grime. What do? Well, in most cases, if you're like me, you pull the trigger anyway in hopes that you're going to be able to resurrect that piece of vinyl from the dead and bring some life back. So today I'm going to show you what my process is for doing just that with this old dirty record right here. Now, before we get started, I will say that I'm going to have to play audio samples because otherwise there's no way of showing you how this process works. So that means that this video is probably going to get a copyright strike on it or some type of demonetization because I'm using these songs, at least just small parts of them. So if you could subscribe, share the video, help us out because this video is probably not going to help us out on its own. So with all that out of the way, let me start off by saying that this is not the definitive method of cleaning vinyl records. It's how I clean vinyl records. It's the method that I have found works best for me on my budget. Yeah, and speaking of budget, I'll talk here real briefly about, starting kind of at the entry level, the bottom level of the budget for cleaning records, all the way up to what I consider to be the most expensive methods that I have yet to venture into. So starting off kind of on the simple side, you could always just go with something like a microfiber cloth and a cleaning solution. This method works to get that surface grime off. We're actually going to be using that as part of our method today. This is something that if it's not a terribly dirty record, works great. And it gets that surface junk off of there so that you're not ruining your stylus and you're getting a better listening experience. Now, one step up from that would be what's this device here called the Spin Clean. What this is basically taking that first method that I talked about and just kind of upping that just a little bit. You just basically place the record in between these two cleaning surfaces, and then you rotate the record around and it cleans the surface. So it kind of just makes the last process a little easier by taking away some of the elbow grease. Now, the next method, which I consider the next step up, is the method that we'll primarily be using today, and that is ultrasonic cleaning. I will be using a Vevor ultrasonic cleaner. There are other brands out there that you can use that all vary in price. The Vevor to me seems to be the best entry level, and it actually works really well for the price point that it's at. So highly recommend this. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies, but you know where to find me if you'd like to sponsor. I'm just telling you what I use. So just take it for what it is. This is a non-sponsored video. Yeah, the next step up would be, like I said, there's other ultrasonics, and I think something like the Humming Guru, which, doubles the price of the Vevor, but you do get features like it will dry the record, whereas the Vevor doesn't dry the record itself, which you'll see here in a bit. So the Humming Guru has that feature, but you only get to do one record at a time. So, a little bit of pro and con there. And then you get to what I consider like the upper tier of record cleaning. I don't know if it's any better or if there's that many more advantages for what the price is, but you're getting into the thousands of dollars for things like a VPI cleaning machine or a degritter. These are considered to be the highest caliber of cleaning options for vinyl records. I don't have them because I cannot afford them, but again, these are kind of the one at a time deals. but they are considered to be the best in the business. So if it's something that works into your budget, maybe you try one of these. But for today, we're going to be showing you my method, and I'll talk you through how I start from the beginning all the way to the end. We'll start with a little audio sample from that dirty record, and at the end, we'll show you exactly how clean this method will get your vinyl records. And I will say, everybody, please be kind in the comments. Everybody has their own method, and everybody swears by certain things. If I do something that you don't agree with, or that you have shunned away from in your cleaning experience, that's okay. I've been doing this method for years now and have not had any problems. Have had nothing but positive results. So take that for what you will. And if this method does not work for you, then don't use it. Continue using what you use. I always welcome other ideas in the comments, but let's keep it civil, guys, because we're all just here to have fun and enjoy the hobby, right? So without further ado, let's take a listen to what this dirty record sounds like right out of the sleeve. Okay, so you probably heard how bad that sounds. You could probably see how dirty it was as it spun around on the turntable. So now that we've got that part out of the way, I'm sorry for your ears. Let's go ahead and walk through the process. All right, so as I explained earlier, this is the ultrasonic machine that I use. It is currently empty, and it has been wiped out from its last use. What I'll show you now is the motor that actually spins the records in the cleaning solution. So this motor just fastens to the back. I'll show you here. We've got some white tape on the back of the basin, which is where this motor lines up. Now it doesn't come like this. I put the tape on there just to help me with doing this in the future, because you have to take it on and off. So now that it's in place, I'm going to put TurgiClean. Now, this is the only additive that I put into the water. I use no detergent, no alcohol, no abrasives, nothing like that. So I put about 12 to 15 drops of this for an entire basin of water, and that's all that's needed. This I'm just showing because you want to make sure that the drain is closed. This is open. You don't want it to look like this. You want to make sure that it's closed off so that when you add the water, it doesn't just come pouring out. And speaking of water, you want to use distilled water. This comes, you can get it in smaller containers. I usually get it by the gallon. You're just going to pour that directly in on top of that TurgiClean. And what that TurgiClean does is it's a surfactant. It just basically allows the water to get into the grooves a little better than just plain water. But basically, it's just plain water with that TurgiClean, and that's all. And that's why it's frothing up as well. It's not detergent, but the TurgiClean does cause a little bit of frothing. You want to fill up to that line right there, which is basically the rim on the basin. Now, here's that dirty record. So we don't want to put it in as filthy as it is. We're going to use this microfiber cloth with a little bit of water on it to just kind of lightly rub the dirt off here. And you're going to want to go in the direction of the grooves. And basically, it's just, getting the surface junk off. And we're going to allow the ultrasonic to get down into the grooves with its process. So again, you're wiping both the sides down, nothing harsh, nothing, I'm not scrubbing into it or anything, just kind of lightly wiping. So now it's ready to go into the bath. But before that, I'm going to show you here, these are the pieces that come with the cleaner. They're spacers. They're made out of like a plastic, like a hard plastic. For one record, what we're going to do is just put that one spacer on. And there's our wiped down record. We'll put it onto the spindle. Now, if you're doing multiple records, which you can do with the Viver, you can use those spacers in between multiple records, but we're just doing the one today. So I'm just going to slap all those spacers on the other side here. And then I'm going to get the end cap piece and then just screw that on the end. It doesn't have to be super tight, just tight enough to kind of hold that record in place as it rotates around. Now the motor that's on the back, I just have to plug up here. You can hook this up to a switch if you'd like. This is just the method that I use. You can see that gets the record to spinning. You want to make sure that the water level is just below the label. What I'm showing here is the temperature gauge. I keep it on 30. I don't want it to get any higher than that. A little warmth to the water doesn't hurt. It helps to loosen up some of the dirt, but you don't want it too hot. And then over here on the right side is the timer for how long you want the process to run. I normally go between 10 and 15 minutes. This is about all you need. And you can get a digital version of this as well. So the switch on the back will turn the machine on. And there's that noise. So it is kind of noisy. So if that bothers you, it's probably best to get it started and then just leave the room. Maybe go take care of some other chores. The machine will run, like I said, for 10 to 15 minutes, whatever you set it to. And then when it's complete, you'll just reverse the process of taking the end cap off, removing any spacers that you had on there, and then carefully removing the record from the spindle. And then I'll be placing it in a drying rack. You see there to the left of the machine. If you don't have the drying rack, mine actually came with this drying rack. You can use maybe like a dish rack or something like that. So this is the rack that I was talking about. It's just plastic. You have to put it together, but you can actually set all of those little rack pieces wherever you would like so that you can fit everything from a standard 12-inch record like this all the way down to 7-inch singles, so that, and I actually have it set up to where I can do both at the same time. So that's my cleaning process in a nutshell. Just basically give the record a nice wipe down to get the surface junk off, run it through the ultrasonic cleaner, and then allow it time to dry. And I will say it's important to allow the drying process to go all the way through. Make sure that it is completely, water free. That way, both for whenever you do play it, or if you're, going to sleeve it immediately after that, you're not sleeving it with any water residue on the LP. But that was the process. So what's the result? Let's take a listen. And what I've done here is I've gone back just to be a quick reminder of, you'll see the clip of the before and then the after, and you'll get a good idea of how well this process did work. right, so hopefully you were able to hear the differences, especially with those lead-in tracks on both side A and B. It cleaned it up quite a bit. So is it perfect? I don't think it's perfect, but for a bargain bin record, being able to resurrect it from what it was sounding like to what it sounds like now is a vast improvement. I do apologize for the fact that the two shots look drastically different. The lighting did change because my turntable is set up next to a window, so the sun kind of washed out the after shots. But you get the idea, because the important part is what it sounds like, not necessarily what my video looks like. So now I can confidently say that we have resurrected this one from the dead. It sounded horrible to begin with, and now it's sounding almost brand new with a little time and effort with the ultrasonic cleaner. If this is a method you guys want to try out, I will put the link to Vivor's website down in the description. You can take a look at the machine. I do highly recommend it. Like I said, even though it's not a sponsored video, I do recommend the Vivor cleaner to all of my friends who are vinyl record collectors, because it will definitely help you when you find these bargain records. Just because they're dirty doesn't mean that they need to be discarded. There are ways to bring these back to life. So guys, hopefully that helped you out with your processes of cleaning records, maybe gave you some insight, maybe it convinced you to go ultrasonic. Maybe you're like, you know what, that's not the method for me, but that's okay. That's what it's here for, is to inform and educate, and you do with that what you will, guys. But if you've been watching this long into the video, I appreciate you. And again, like, subscribe, and share. Do all that YouTube stuff that helps the channel out here, guys. So until the next installment, stay educated and keep them spinning.